Hey everyone, and welcome to Ink Spotlights from Comix Wellspring. This is the series where we shine the spotlight on immensely talented creators who print with us. And today we're going to talk to Chandler Payne about some of his projects, his journey, and a little bit more. Welcome to the show, Chandler. It's really great to have you on here. You have a good plethora of work behind you. Why don't you tell us about some of your projects?
Hi, thank you for having me. Right now, I just came out with What's Left Behind issue one. I just dropped that in November, and it's basically the story of two brothers who are left like really after their father is murdered, and around a year later, the two brothers and their friends they discover this object in the woods that gives them superpowers, and with superpowers now, not even a corrupt justice system can protect the guy that murdered their father from them. But unfortunately, that kind of puts the two brothers on opposite sides of vengeance, justice. What's the difference? And so the story is really it's a personal story. It's a human story about those two brothers and also their two friends who are also affected by having superpowers. And so it's a more human story. I think it's a more personal story than most like superhero fare. But we get to do a lot of cool like action and superpower type of stuff also, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to exploring the most as the series goes on.
Dude, that's super awesome. And I could tell just by some of the verbiage you're using and how you're describing the series, it seems like you're very into the craft itself and storytelling and building up these worlds. Where did some of that come from? What got you interested in telling stories, and what has you so interested in the craft overall?
Well, I mean, I've always loved just storytelling in general, movies, TV shows. I grew up watching Twilight Zone and Star Wars and all of that type of stuff, X Files. So I've always loved like just storytelling, science fiction, nerdy stuff. And when I was a little kid, I was making comic books on my living room floor with notebook paper and Crayola markers. So I've been doing this my whole life, but what really got me to lock in and do it as an adult was that I spent a lot of time pursuing like realistic jobs, and I kind of hit a wall eventually with that. And what happened was in 2019 I lost a job that I had worked really hard to have, and then right after that I lost my mom, and it kind of put me at the bottom of the barrel. But it was when I got to that point that I fell back and I focused on the things that made me happy, and making comic books, crafting stories, creating characters. That was what made me happy. And I said, I'm just gonna go all in on this. And so that's when Payne Comics started. Was in 2019, and I published my first book through Kickstarter in 2022, and this one, What's Left Behind, this is my really big one. This is the one I've been working on the longest.
Dude, that's awesome. It's really beautiful too. And I'm sorry for everything you got to go through, but it's also sometimes you have to live life and you have to experience life, and then you have so much more to share with people as well. And I've always called storytelling as survival information.
Hmm.
And when you're telling a story and you're passing along just something, or you usually channel a lot of what you go through storytelling and whatnot. And so feeding that to someone else can get them through a moment, through a time in their life that's rough, a time that in life that's positive. And there's so much survival information within storytelling. It doesn't need to be a life and death thing, but just knowing how to cope with moments and experiences. And I think that's such a beautiful part of what we get to do as storytellers is we take in all this and then we craft it in our own heads and put in different perspective, and then we get to share it with the world. And I think that's really awesome of you that you get to take a lot of that pain and kind of rechannel that somewhere else. And I have close friends that have lost parents, and even my girlfriend's lost her mom a couple years ago, and it's really hard to find yourself during some moments like that, and to
Right.
find art and to find your guiding path during after that is really really awesome, and I'm really happy that you're finding something that keeps you going and motivated and strong. And it seems like you have a very positive like reach in behind all your books too. And speaking of that too, like do you have anything in the works right now, coming up pretty soon?
Right now, I'm working on the second issue of What's Left Behind. Um, where that should be out in early next year. I'm making really good progress on that, and I work with a really really great colorer named Carla, and she's awesome. And so we're already far along on that, and so I'll have more information about that soon. And I'm working on some other projects and stuff as well, but they're a little bit further down the road.
Okay, rad. That's super cool. We got to get you on Spilled Ink on some point too to draw and hang out with us at some
Yeah, I'd
time.
love
Do
to.
you do more traditional or like digital drawing?
I kind of do a blend of both. I like to ink digitally. I like to color if I'm going to do color. I like to ink and color digitally, but I still like to go back to pencil and paper for my penciling process. So
Oh, rad.
I pencil, scan it in, ink, and that's usually my process.
Ooh, is that like more like what keeps you from inking traditionally too? I'm curious about that.
Uh, well, for one, like the cost it's expensive to ink the old way, but also just like I like the options that inking digitally gives me. It gives me a lot of options like very quickly, and
Hmm.
I'm still growing also as an inker, as a pencil. I'm still growing in all of these fields, but um for me, I think as a I still feel like I'm sort of a novice inker. As a novice inker, I think digital gives me a lot of options to work with, and I can erase.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I'm trying to do more digital stuff myself because I'm learning traditionally on Spilled Ink. So I try to use my iPad now on downtime, but there's so many options, it kind of throws me off. Like I have like four things to like play with like traditionally, and that's easy for me to work with. But then you have all these options. You're like, man, I really got to narrow these down and test them through, and draw so I know what they look like too. What programs do you use? Do you use like Procreate, Clip Studio Art, Adobe?
I use Clip Art Studio Pro, I think. So whatever the latest
Okay, rad. I've heard
studio
great
is. So,
stuff.
yeah. That's what I've been working with the
Nice,
longest.
dude.
It
That's
just works really well for me.
I've heard nothing but positive things from comic book creators by using Clip Studio.
Mm.
Definitely a program I want to dive into. I use Procreate just because it's a simple, I guess, like entry level almost.
Yeah.
Most people gravitate straight towards that for the price point too. But dude, that's really cool. Clip Studio has some great features, especially just for comics in particular.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I got started with, and now I find it hard to move on to anything else. But they have so many options on there. You can do animation, you can do pretty much everything in clip art. So it's worked for me really good with like, and I do my own lettering as well. So I do my lettering
Oh,
digitally. So
yeah, that makes it a lot easier too. Definitely, yeah, because hand lettering is a whole nother mission, hands
can't do
down.
it.
Oh, well, awesome, dude. So where can people go and get your books right now? Do you have a shop we could set up and link right here? Where can we find your work and support you?
So right now, my comics are available on my website on paincomics.com. That's just www.paincomics.com. We have a shop on there that's got all my current comics out, as well as like their variant covers, and we've got stickers, we've got stuff like that on there. And we're looking into some other options right now as well for other places to kind of host selling our comics as well. But right now, that's still the best place. And then I'm on all social medias as well. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. TikTok is a really good one to follow us on because I do like lives over there where I ink and I chat with people in there while I'm inking. So that's a really good place if you want to watch the process.
How's your traction on that? Like, do you get like good traction just on TikTok Live with stuff like that?
It's getting pretty good. It's slow goings, but like still it's the consistency. It's all about consistency over there.
Mm.
The more consistently you stream and stuff like that, the more traction you get. So I get pretty good feedback on there right now.
Oh, awesome. We got to do that one day. I'd love to like maybe ink something with
Yeah.
you on a TikTok live and kind of dive into that more. Definitely. We'll talk after the show a little bit
All right.
after that.
Sure.
That's super exciting, Chandler. Like I'm so hyped for everything you're doing. I'm so hyped for your understanding and love for craft and, pursuing a passion so deeply. And I respect that so much. Especially when it comes down to art and comics. Like you have such a good drive and a motivator. And I love seeing like what you're coming out of and the success you're having right now. It's super awesome to see. And I really admire you as an indie creator by doing that. Do you want to give any quick shout outs before we sign off on today's spotlight?
Shout outs. Yeah, I would definitely shout out Carla Aguilar. She does my coloring for me, like I mentioned earlier. She is a really awesome color. She brings such a cool aesthetic to my book that I knew I couldn't do myself. That I wanted a really particular aesthetic to be brought to it, and really have those colors make the art breathe. And she does that so well. So I think her name is Carla Aguilar Art online. So I would definitely tell people to check her out. And she's a freelance artist, so give her some work. She's awesome. She's awesome.
Nice. Love that. I love to check out some more of your work and your books, dude. So excited we got to talk to you today. Can't wait to get you on another one of our shows. It'd be super great to kind of crack open your head and like understand what you do because I feel like I'm like probably right behind you on art wise. Like I'm building myself up, trying to get that confidence, trying to make more, trying to get used to just drawing and penciling in general, both digitally and traditionally. So I'd love to see where you are at, just like a year or two ahead of me, and like getting some insight
For
from you.
sure.
So
That sounds
can't wait to talk
awesome, man. I'd
again.
love to do it.